Good afternoon. Welcome to the hearings on the Committee on Veterans and Mental Health. At this time, please silence all electronics and do not approach the dais. I repeat, please do not approach the dais. If you wish to testify, please sign a slip at the back of the room with the sergeant. Even if you testified online, please fill out a slip. If you wish to testify online, you may do so at testimony@council.nyc.gov. That is testimony@council.nyc.gov. If you need any assistance, please contact the sergeant. And Chair, you may begin.
Good morning. I am Councilmember Robert Holden, Chair of the Committee on Veterans. Welcome to our joint oversight hearing with the Committee on Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addiction on supporting the families of veterans with PTSD. Before turning to today's hearing, I want to just mention that last month's hearing on civic engagement, where we highlighted the Vet the Vote campaign by a nonprofit, We the Veterans. This nationwide campaign has successfully enlisted nearly 160,000 veterans and family members as poll workers for the upcoming election on November 5th. This means that around 1 in 10 election workers, a great proportion, will be a veteran or a family member of a veteran. That's a testament to the success of and impact of the Vet the Vote campaign. That's quite an accomplishment as a national campaign, like I mentioned. So when you vote, you might have the opportunity to once again to thank a veteran. So let's think about that on November 5th, or before. Now to today's topic, which is personal and has a great meaning to me as the son of a veteran. A recent study has shown that veterans returning to New York State over the past 5 years are more often reporting symptoms of depression and PTSD than veterans from earlier years. About a quarter of returning veterans report dealing with depression. And similarly, about a quarter are affected by post-traumatic stress disorder. So while approximately 1/3 of these veterans are receiving some form of mental health care, another 20% have yet to receive the mental health services they need, whether due to an uncertainty about their effectiveness or simply not knowing where to access them. Here in New York City, veterans and their families have access to free mental health services through NYU Langone's Military Family Center, but not every eligible veteran knows this resource is available. A recent 60 Minutes segment highlighted the impact of post-traumatic stress disorder on the families of veterans. And I saw that, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you can get a chance, Scott Pelley's piece, underscored the challenges children and spouses face, often becoming hidden helpers by taking on caregiving roles at a young age, sometimes dealing with their own depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. I really hope you can all see that. I highly recommend this powerful segment available on YouTube, as it really shows an unseen struggles of military families. I'll speak to my personal experiences. My father came back, and I told this story many times, but each time it does bring back, very, very hard memory of my dad coming back from World War II, and obviously he fought in the Philippines. Very tough campaign. He was in the medical unit, and I only learned, he never spoke about his war record, and I learned this from my uncle who served with him. That's how my father and mother met, through my uncle. My uncle served in the Philippines, and they were like I said, they were in the medical unit. And my uncle told me later, after my father passed, how many soldiers died in my father's arms. My father, he told me, was the greatest person he met. But he said, you never met your real father, because he suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, undiagnosed. And the reason why we're doing this hearing, and I did just bring this up to the committee council And I said, you have to see this 60 Minutes piece, because it really resonated with me. It was like I was looking at myself as I had 3 other siblings who were all affected by my dad's post-traumatic stress disorder. My father never received help from the VA. It was a daily roller coaster living at home. In fact, my older brother left home in high school. He attended high school in Buffalo to get out of the house. My sister got married at 20 to get out of the house. My younger brother was never home. He stayed out on the streets as late as he could. I had to help my mom because my mom had to do everything in the household. My father couldn't hold a job. We often didn't have any money. Because of my father, he suffered from alcoholism. This is all tough to talk about, but because it brings back such terrible memories. And the fact that I got married at 21 to get out of the house too, we can look back, but post-traumatic stress disorder does affect family members. I am Exhibit A, because it was a horrible, horrible life living that daily stress. And it wasn't my dad's fault. I thought it was. Why can't this guy function? Why can't he be a father? Why doesn't he talk to me like Leave It to Beaver's dad, which we all looked on TV, if you don't know what that show was, but it was obviously an early sitcom. But we had role models on TV, but I didn't have that dad. I didn't have a father that spoke to me. I didn't have any of that. But it affected every family member, including my mom, who suffered cerebral hemorrhage in her 40s because of the stress. And we thought that we were going to lose her. To say that we can't do anything for the families, or we don't know, and nothing was done for those veterans, by the way, coming back from World War II and from Vietnam and from Korea. Really, very little was done. We didn't understand anything about post-traumatic stress disorder. But it's passed down to generations, by the way. If you don't believe it, it's continuing. Each family member suffers because of a dysfunctional person, but the government, and I remember going down with my mom, we pleaded with the VA, and I would tell the stories. Only when I got older and I could argue better did we finally he got 100% disability, but that was 2 years before he passed. So it really didn't help the family. We were left to fend for ourselves. And let me tell you, I felt guilt when my dad died because my uncle pulled me aside and says, Bob, you were very tough on your dad. You don't understand what we went through. You don't understand the horrors that we've seen. And he told me about the hand-to-hand combat, which I could never imagine. He told me about how many soldiers died in my dad's arms, like I mentioned before. He says, you don't recover from that if you're a human being. You don't recover from that. Losing so many friends, losing so many men, and you kind of blame yourself sometimes. He said, we blamed ourselves because we couldn't get the necessary help to them in the battlefield. So I can't imagine fighting in the war. I still can't, but I could just see what it did to my dad. And the fact that my uncle said you never met your real dad, it hurt. And I carry that with me. But being chair of this committee is at least something I could do for veterans to make up for that, because I didn't understand. And I feel there's not a day goes by that I don't feel guilty about how I spoke to my dad, how I treated him. I wanted him gone. I really did. I wanted him out of this house. I said, I can't take this guy anymore. He would talk all night, keep us up all night. I had to study for school. He would pace the floors. He would bang things. This was a constant daily event. So I understand what the families are going through, and probably many are suffering now as we speak, but we can try to address this. So I'm going to introduce my colleague, Linda Lee, who's chair of the Mental Health Committee, this is a very important topic, though. I think we're trying to get funding more from the city on this issue, and that's my goal before I leave the council. But I just want to mention the committee staff that prepared today's hearing. John LaRosa is to my right, our legislative counsel. Regina Paul, who's downstairs, right? She's coming back up. She's at the Dem conference, and Ross Goldstein, our financial analyst. And I want to thank my chief of staff also, Daniel Kazina, who's somewhere here. So I'll turn it over to Chair Lee to give her opening statement.
Thank you so much, Chair Holden. And thanks for always sharing your story and bringing light to this important issue. And I think this is actually our third joint hearing, actually, with Mental Health and Veterans Committee, which I think is a record. I don't know about how the last council was, but I'll just say I think it's a record. And I have to say it's always great because especially when it comes to mental health, you know, trying to be a voice for the voiceless and speaking up on behalf of marginalized communities is definitely, I think, where both of our hearts are. And it's been really great and a learning experience for me every time we have joint committees with the veterans, because even I still remember our first hearing that we had in 2022 about the veterans treatment courts, and that was such a fascinating thing for me to learn about, and a lot of lessons we heard there with the peer supports, and how that's so much more needed, which I see the resources here is amazing. So I just want to thank you all for being here today. Sorry, went a little off script. But yes, so thanks for joining us today for the hearing on supporting the families of veterans with PTSD. Today's hearing shines a necessary light on the often overlooked mental health challenges faced by the families of veterans. While we frequently discuss the mental health impacts of PTSD on vets, the toll it takes on their loved ones, spouses, partners, children, deserves equal attention. Families not only support their veterans, but also become secondary victims of the trauma, dealing with anxiety, depression, and even PTSD symptoms themselves. This hearing is part of a larger initiative that the Council has undertaken to address mental health across all communities. Last year, as part of the Council's ongoing mental health roadmap, we passed a package of bills focused on expanding access to mental health services for veterans. I was proud to sponsor Local Law 38 of 2024, which ensures that comprehensive information on available mental health resources is distributed to veterans and their families across the city. These efforts are part of our continued push to ensure that every family knows where to find help, and we know that this is an ongoing challenge which we will continue to try to help with. But there is more work to be done, and the stories we've heard from military families, children who've become caregivers, and spouses who take on the emotional weight of PTSD highlight the gaps in care that persist. As we listen to today's testimonies, I hope we can identify further opportunities to collaborate with the Department of Veterans Services and other agencies to close these gaps and expand support. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today and working together to ensure that no family is left to navigate these challenges alone. And just on a separate note, I will say, coming from the nonprofit sector, we did a lot of caregiver programs, whether it's caregivers of cancer patients, caregivers of mental health, you know, having someone with your family that lives with severely mentally illness diseases. And I have to say, it really does take a toll on the family, and oftentimes their support is overlooked. And so looking forward to today's topic. I would like to take a moment also to thank my own staff, members of the Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addiction Committee staff who worked so hard to prepare this hearing. And of course, we have Sarah Sutra on my left, who is on our committee, so thank you so much for preparing. And I'll hand it over back to Chair Holden.
Thank you, Chair Lee. We have council members that joined us: Abreu, Hanif, Nurse, and Botcher. Nobody else, right? Okay. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to our legislative counsel to administer the oath to witnesses from the administration.
Would you all please raise your right hand? Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee, and to respond honestly to council members' questions? Thank you. As a reminder to all of our witnesses, please state your name prior to your testimony for the record.
Thank you. James Hendon, Commissioner at New York City Department of Veteran Services. Before I begin, Chair Holden, what's your father's name again, sir?
I'm sorry?
What is your father's name again? Your father's name. Your father's name. Your dad. Your dad. Your dad. Yeah, your dad.
I really need the earpiece, but it's Joseph Amel Holden.
And what was your mom's name, sir? What was your mom's name?
Oh, Ann.
Listen, I just want to say thank you.
Are you going to look them up, or?
No, I just want to say I wanted to call his name. I wanted to call his name out as far as him being a veteran.
Yeah, well,
and also your mom. I just wanted to say thank you as a military family member.
Thank you for asking. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to recognize Joseph and Ann. Same thing for Councilmember Nurse. I know your military officers calling you and your family. Just want to say thank you. So I just want to say that. Sorry. Yeah. Good afternoon, Chair Holden, Chair Lee, committee members, and esteemed stakeholders. My name is James Hendon. I'm honored to serve as Commissioner of the New York City Department of Veteran Services. I'm accompanied today by Dr. Lauren DeMello, our Executive Director of Mental Health, Jason Loughran, Senior Advisor for Intergovernmental Affairs. Also, we've got Ellen Greeley, our Assistant Commissioner for Partnerships, joining us. Today, we're here to address the challenges families face when supporting veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and to discuss strategies and resources DVS has developed to assist these families, as well as additional resources required to better serve them. I want to start by panning back and just talking about these things in a broader way. We deeply appreciate the Council's attention to the needs of families affected by the mental health challenges faced by veterans, including PTSD. Living with or caring for a veteran who has PTSD can have significant emotional, psychological, and even physical impacts on family members. A recent RAND study commissioned by the New York Health Foundation provides important insights. More than 60% of New York State veterans has a disability. Roughly 1 out of 4 surveyed have more probable depression or PTSD. Nearly 1 in 5, 17%, have both. This study, based on responses from 1,225 New York State veterans discharged from military service between January of 2018 and January 2023, also revealed that almost 60% of those veterans are married or partnered, underscoring the extensive reach of PTSD's effects on loved ones. On a national level, according to the National Center for PTSD, approximately 6% of Americans are expected to experience PTSD at some point in their lives. Comparatively, roughly 7% of U.S. military veterans will experience PTSD at some point in their lives. However, this rate, the proportion that will experience PTSD at some point in their lives, can be significantly higher among veterans with direct combat experience, such as those who served in Vietnam, 10%, Desert Storm, 21%, and Operations Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom, 29%. The National Center for PTSD highlights how PTSD can manifest in ways that challenge even the most resilient families. Veterans may be easily startled, have disturbing nightmares, or avoid social situations, behaviors that can strain family relationships and lead to feelings of isolation. Children of veterans with PTSD are also at risk of being indirectly impacted. Studies suggest that these children may be more prone to behavioral issues, challenges at school, and difficulties forming relationships with peers. Parents report seeing their children as more anxious, aggressive, and prone to sadness or hyperactivity than those veterans' parents who do not have PTSD. Some research also indicates a correlation between PTSD in a parent and an increased risk of domestic violence, though it is essential to note that most veteran households do not experience domestic violence. It is crucial for family members to be able to recognize PTSD symptoms and encourage their loved ones to seek help through the VA or a mental health provider knowledgeable about military culture. Family members and children themselves can benefit from therapy sessions with culturally competent providers to help manage the stress and emotional toll that PTSD may create with a family. Key takeaway here, these issues are important to our community, but we must avoid a victim-hero narrative. Do not infantilize us or assume as soon as you see a U.S. military service member, past or present, or a member of their family, don't assume that they are broken. The PTSD rate in the veteran community as a whole, remember 7% have experienced PTSD at some point in their lives, is similar to the PTSD rate in the entire country. Same rate for America is 6%. Likewise, the levels of depression in the veteran community as a whole, as mentioned, 25% of veterans in New York State have experienced PTSD or depression, is similar to the levels of depression in the nation. According to a 2023 Gallup study, 29% of Americans have experienced depression at some point in their lives. So the first issue is just about victim-hero, to call that out. Next one I want to talk about is the need for blast exposure research. I'd like to also bring attention to a related concern that holds a strong correlation with PTSD in veterans: the impact of blast exposure. Panning back, military personnel, construction workers, police, firefighters, commercial fishermen, industrial farmers, miners, auto mechanics, prisoners, domestic violence victims, and contact sports athletes are often exposed to blasts. Examples of blasts are the firing of a weapon, operation of heavy machinery, proximity to demolitions, explosions, or crashes, and violent physical contact. All of these blasts release various forms of energy, for instance, overpressure, radio frequency, infrasound, piezoelectricity. One or more blast energies is suspected to impact the brain. While research has shown that there's a correlation between these blasts and negative brain-related behaviors, for example, increased incidence of suicide, little is known about causation. Scientists have yet to pinpoint which energies of those released are doing the damage and the exact ways in which these energies affect the brain. The mechanisms through which blast energies cause brain damage are poorly understood. This hinders our ability to prevent, measure, or treat said injuries effectively. Research into identifying the types of energy involved, their specific impacts on brain function, and reliable biomarkers for brain health is urgently needed. Such research would improve our ability to assess injuries and ultimately develop protective measures that can mitigate the effects of these exposures. This will potentially benefit millions of individuals in at-risk populations. If we can solve what leads to many mental and behavioral issues upstream, then we can reduce the number of our brothers and sisters and their families whom we will need to assist downstream. As a society, we largely focus on the symptoms of blast exposure and treating those symptoms from a mental health standpoint. From an engineering standpoint, we need to study and mitigate the cause. Now to mental health and support for veteran families. To better address PTSD and the complex, interconnected mental health needs of our veterans and their loved ones, including spouses, children, caregivers, and survivors, DVS has prioritized military family outreach and support. We've collaborated with our city partners and utilized New York City's rich network of community mental health and social service providers to create a robust support system for military families. The Military Family Advocate Program, or MFA. To expand our outreach and engagement to military families, DVS partnered with NYC Public Schools to create the Military Family Advocate Program. This effort aims to have one military family liaison in every public school, giving principals the option to designate a staff or faculty member for this role. The military family advocates receive training on military culture, how to identify military families, how to engage with them, to understand their needs, connect them to DVS care coordination, and work within their school community to reduce the stigma around military service members. The pilot program in Staten Island saw 55 public schools opt in, identifying 242 military families. Building on this success, we're now expanding citywide, onboarding schools from more boroughs and reaching military and veteran families in the largest public school system in the nation. Details can be found at nyc.gov/vetmfa. Expanding family resources. DVS has diligently worked to expand our resources to consider all aspects of military life and the challenges that may arise throughout. In lieu of a universal approach, we've diversified our offerings to encompass various mental health care modalities. In addition to traditional talk therapy, we offer support groups, the Reconsolidation of Traumatic Memories, or RTM protocol, yoga, and holistic health care, peer-to-peer support, animal and wilderness therapy, and various specialized care. We've also expanded family resources to include programs that support children's mental health and developmental needs, such as connecting families to after-school programs and community resources such as the Girl Scouts of America and Boy Scouts of America, the Department of Youth and Community Development. We also partner with NYC Public Schools Special Education Service to ensure a continuum of care for military families that are either inbound to or have recently arrived in New York City. DVS also promotes resources for comprehensive women's care. In addition to resources for mental and primary health care needs, we promote cancer screenings and breast imaging, fertility and reproductive care, and maternity supports. We utilize the array of programs and services to support victims of intimate partner violence and substance use disorders and other addictions. We recommend numerous socialization, fitness, food, and mental health programs to our elderly veterans through the NYC Department for the Aging. We work closely with community partners such as New York Presbyterian's Military Family Wellness Center, NYU Langone Military Family Center, Blue Star Families, and Gold Star Wives. Details can be found at nyc.gov/vetparents, nyc.gov/vethealth, and nyc.gov/vetmentalhealth. The National Center for PTSD offers a wealth of resources to help families better understand post-traumatic stress disorder, including an informative guide that is available at ptsd.va.gov. They've also created the PTSD Family Coach app, which offers valuable insights on supporting a loved one with PTSD and tips for self-care. This app is accessible on both Apple and Android devices and serves as a valuable tool for family members to better understand PTSD and locate supportive resources. To make these mental health resources easily accessible, we have created several one-page documents featuring QR codes that link to VA mental health resources, peer support resources, and counseling services. These resources are available for download on our website at nyc.gov/vetwellness. Peer support and community-based programs. DVS has issued an RFP, a request for proposals, for the PFC Joseph P. Dwyer Peer Program, designed to promote socialization and connectivity among veterans and their families through arts, culture, health, and outdoor activities. This program is rooted in the belief that peer-to-peer support can be a first step for many veterans to engage with the community, fostering a sense of belonging and well-being. We've encouraged elected officials to promote this funding opportunity within their districts to broaden program outreach. The deadline to apply for the Dwyer program has been extended to Monday, November 25th at 2 p.m. Details can be found at nyc.gov/vetdwyer. In partnership with Operation Warrior Shield, DVS is also helping to recruit veterans for a promising therapy known as Reconciliation of Traumatic Memories Therapy, or RTM therapy. RTM therapy was developed by Dr. Frank Bork, and this innovative treatment has shown effectiveness in reducing PTSD symptoms within just 4 sessions conducted virtually or in person. For local laws, mental health programs, and military cultural competency, following the enactment of Local Law 39, which requires DVS to submit an annual report on the mental health services provided to veterans by city agency, DVS has begun collecting critical data across New York City government relevant to programs and services our veterans and their families are utilizing. Local Law 39 provides DVS a level of collaboration and awareness relevant to the unique needs of veterans and their families like never before. For additional DVS programs, there's the Veterans Mental Health Coalition. This coalition brings together researchers, advocates, clinicians, and organizations monthly to discuss mental health issues affecting veterans. These meetings foster collaboration and allow DVS to stay informed of developments and potential partnerships that could benefit the veteran community. Mission Vet Check, launched in 2020, this buddy check wellness calling program helps veterans with issues such as food insecurity, housing, and mental health. In the lifespan of Mission Vet Check, DVS has collaborated with volunteers to conduct more than 40,000 calls, 16,000 of which occurred during the last fiscal year. The program has connected veterans to necessary services and served as a critical support link in times of need. More details can be found at nyc.gov/vetcheck. Get Covered NYC Vet. In partnership with the Mayor's Public Engagement Unit, this program assists veterans in navigating health coverage options, including the New York State of Health, VA, and TRICARE systems. Healthcare enrollment can be a complex process, and this initiative connects veterans with specialists who can help them select the best coverage option, factoring in both civilian and military healthcare eligibility. To learn more, please visit nyc.gov/coverednycvet. Recommendations for New York City Council support. We're grateful to the Council for enacting legislation that connects veterans, caregivers, families, and survivors with mental health resources. The Mental Health Roadmap legislation, which outlines evidence-based solutions to improve mental health outcomes, enables DVS to strengthen community-level prevention services and raise public awareness about the mental health programs available. Recently enacted legislation includes Local Law 37 of 2024. The local law enhanced and expanded the collection of demographic data about veterans. Local Law 38 of 2024 optimized community outreach and engagement on mental health resources for veterans. Local Law 39 of 2024 establishes an annual report on the provision of mental health services by city agencies to veterans, and Local Law 40 of 2024 facilitates an online resource tool and pamphlet for veterans. To complement the great work done historically, when it comes to new initiatives, we encourage the Council to consider the following. Dwyer Program Amplification. Council members can help broaden the reach of the Dwyer program by promoting its application deadline, now extended to November 25th, within their districts. Once again, details can be found at nyc.gov/vetdwyer. Coordination with City Council-funded veterans efforts. We recommend the Council require all entities that receive Schedule C funding for veterans events or services provide details about said activities with DVS, to DVS so that we may amplify their work. This will enhance coordination, expand outreach, and maximize the impact of every veteran-focused dollar the council spends. Veteran indicator question on constituent forms. Adding a veteran indicator question to all council constituent intake forms, that is, the forms that you use when meeting constituents you serve in your office, would support data sharing, help connect more veteran and military families to resources, and bring more of our brothers and sisters and their loved ones out of the shadows. In conclusion, thank you for this opportunity to discuss the mental health challenges faced by veterans and their families. DVS is committed to providing supportive services that empower veterans and their loved ones to thrive, and we appreciate the City Council's ongoing partnership in achieving this goal. We're here to answer any questions you may have. For more information on DVS's mental health resources, please visit nyc.gov/vetmentalhealth or engage VetConnect NYC at nyc.gov/vetconnect. You can call DVS at 212-416-5250, email us at connect@veterans.nyc.gov, visit our website, nyc.gov/vets, and follow us on social media using the hashtag @NYCVeterans. Lastly, if you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, please contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. Members of the military and veteran community can reach the Veteran Crisis Line by dialing 988 and pressing 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I just want to, I'll ask a few questions and I'll turn it over to my colleague, Linda Lee, and then obviously council members. And this is like this is not an exact science, but obviously you identified, you said, well, the veterans don't experience PTSD higher than the normal population, really, essentially. I don't know how we measure that. So I'm skeptical a little bit about that because it depends on. I know I speak to Vietnam vets a lot because that's my age group, and you can see I can see they have issues, many of them, that they're too. I guess that they don't. Some of them don't admit it or don't know it that they're experiencing issues.
I guess it's on the testimony. So it's looking at the entire veteran community. Right. And then it's looking at folks who've been in combat. And so with the entire veteran community, we're looking at 7% for the entire veteran community. Right. But when you look at Vietnam, as far as those Vietnam-era vets who experienced combat, you got 10%. When you look at those Desert Shield, Desert Storm vets, those who were downrange, you're looking at 21%. And we look at the Operation Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, those who have been in theater, who've gone, you're looking at 29%. So I think that's the nuance, Mr. Chair, as far as when we look at the entire veteran community. But when we look at these subcomponents as far as our combat veterans, I want to kind of tease that out.
Yeah, other than what you mentioned, can you provide an overview of how DVS connects veterans and their families to mental health services, particularly those dealing with PTSD, through resources like VetConnect? And how does this get to the veterans, these pieces that you gave us? How does that get to veterans?
For us, a lot of it is the in-person piece, and I'll defer to other folks to add to this. There's the in-person aspect as far as different events where we may have a presence, we may table or attend. And then there's also the virtual events or things that we are promoting online and things we push out on social media. There's also going on offense as far as sending. I know that we regularly will send materials to our various community board offices too, as far as getting things in their hands so they know what's going on. So we just use different modalities to try to get this stuff downrange, Mr. Chair.
And how many, the database of veterans in New York City, how many veterans are on that list? Do you know offhand?
For us, we have over 135,000 veterans' contact information. Okay. As far as New York City veterans. That's what we've
so for you to do a mailing is impossible. Given your budget.
It's a financial piece. Right. We're doing everything outside of something that is costly to try to hit this. So yes.
Right. So that's the question. We could reach a lot more if you had the budget, if you had even one mailing. And I know it's an issue, but I think, we've been trying to come up with creative ways to do that. But, you said you do outreach and, you go through, you inform the spouses or partners, children, other family members of veterans about mental health support available to them. Do we have a number of how many actually take advantage of those programs? I'm talking about the spouses or family members.
We've got to get through our data to get back to you on that. I can tell you our numbers of veteran family and military families touched. If you look at our MMR numbers, they've gone up. But when it comes to teasing out exactly those who are in that family bucket, we'll get back to you with those answers, Mr. Chair, so we can give you the exact response. to
Yeah,
that.
because I always say that the city's great on programs, they're just bad on communications. And this is one thing that I think we could actually help so many New Yorkers, especially veterans, but family members. On that, if you saw that that 60 Minutes report, the reason why it resonated with me, because it mentions that one family member, it's usually like for me, you know, I had to take charge of the family at the age of 11 years old, essentially, which was, it all fell on me, and it got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. You know, so it got to a point where I was ready to just like to get out of everything and just wanted to leave home. My brothers and my sister did. I couldn't do it because I couldn't leave my mom. But we have to identify those children, because it like I said, it could be passed down the generation. I mean, I happened to luck out because I met a woman that saved me, but there are so many people, so many members of families that fall by the wayside. And especially, it always falls on one child, usually. I mean, I've noticed it. And I talked to people who went through the similar, and many of us went through it being children of World War II, of people returning. So we all experienced it. My wife experienced it very differently, but she experienced probably a lot more stress than I did. Being, you know, she was born in Japan, she came to the United States as a Japanese American post-World War II. Try to imagine what that was like with all the propaganda against the Japanese, which my dad experienced. You know, when he found out I was going to marry a Japanese American, he hit the ceiling, wouldn't come to my wedding, and wouldn't talk to me. So this is what happens, but it came from war. It came from war, and it continues. So for us, as a city, to not try to reach out to family members, children of veterans who suffer serious post-traumatic stress disorder, we know who they are. We know who many of them are. They did reach out. They are suffering, but I don't know if we're reaching them. We might be doing a small percentage, but we can't say that we're ahead of the game here.
I agree with you. You know, when you speak, you know, earlier you said, you know, you've got families who have anger towards the military, who don't want to identify. That's a whole other aspect of this. There's so many things, and then I want to just level set. Almost every hearing, we always say this. Most recent data we have as far as self-identification, this is the VA's gross domestic expenditure report. It is, in the nation, it's 34.3%. Of all veterans self-identify nationwide. It drops down to 29.8% in New York State, drops down to 24.1% in New York City. And so we're dealing with, how can I even know who that family member is if I've got a veteran not even coming on the net? That's one piece of this. Another piece of it is, you have some families who have anger in them from that experience being in that household, and who, you know, even if we do what we can to try to get them to come out of the shadows, they are reluctant to, because of, you know, I watched what it did to my brother, I watched what it did to my father, I watched what it did to my son, et cetera. And so that's its own beast. Something else I wanted to add too, Mr. Chair, you talked about outreach. What we're trying to do, you know, it's no secret we're not the richest agency in city government, just want to call that out. What we've been trying to do is leverage all of our partners, including you, as far as our elected officials, to get the word out to our veterans. What you'll see from us in the coming weeks is we've finally gotten to a place we can cut up all of our data, so that we'll be able to tell all of the city council members, hey, here are the veterans we know of, the 135,000 that we are tracking. Here are the ones we know who are in your district. We'll be able to do that for council, for the assembly, for the Senate, as far as New York State Assembly members, New York State senators, et cetera, also with community boards. And so these are agreements that we've been working on for months now to get to a place where, between all of us, if everyone's constantly reaching out to these veterans, at some point there'll be enough touches where our people and their families will come into the light. So I just want to call that out, because it all comes back to identification, identification, identification.
Right. By the way, we've been joined by Councilmember Palladino, Ariola, and Marmorato. We got everybody, right? Good. Just to And, you know, I've been trying to get extra funding for RTM, as you know. And, you know, there's so many programs. And the thing I like about RTM, it's relatively cheap. There's 4 to 5 sessions. It has promising results. And I think we'll hear from Dr. Burke later. But, you know, the challenges that we face, obviously, is just reaching veterans, but also it's probably another level of reaching the families. And, you know, so tell me what the VA, I mean, you probably know this, but we probably spoke about this before, but I just want to know the steps after a veteran is discharged. Especially, and I know you know veterans that were in combat. What special counseling do they receive from the VA right away, or from, let's say, the Army if they were in the Army, Navy? What happens when they're discharged? Who talks to them? Who counsels them?
I'm going to defer to Ellen and Lauren to go a little further on this, but I'll just say my experience, you got to deal with the stigma first of, you know, do I want to answer that question that said that something did happen, and then have to go through whatever additional traps, et cetera. So you've got folks who are missing at the gate with that when it comes to the transition point and trying to reach out to anyone to normalize help-seeking behavior. I think that's lacking on the defense side of things. And so I think that when you have the transition assistance program, but you've got to put that hand up and say, I need help. But it's a culture that does not promote that as far as on the defense side before they even become veterans. And so I think that we're dealing with that as well. But I want to defer to Ellen and Lauren to add anything to that.
Hi, so a couple of things that happen is that veterans are being encouraged to sign up with the VA as soon as possible. I think that's a little bit of a difference, but during their transition assistance program, they are being very much encouraged to do that. Now, I would say that one of the ways to maximize that is to encourage veterans to get their disability ratings, because that translates into real dollars and cents for the veteran. And that's another way to go about in terms of diagnosis. And obviously, the higher the rating, the more money that you get. So I think that that's an important piece, an incentive for veterans to register with the VA. And what they're also being encouraged to do is, even if they are not going to take advantage of VA benefits up front, at least in the long term, they may very much need to do that, again, for disability benefits in the long term for their health conditions.
But if you could tell me, I mean, I don't know, again, I would love to have the VA here, but if you can tell me what let's say the Army, I was in combat, and I get it. Do you sit with a mental health professional when you leave the service?
You'll be asked questions.
You'll be asked questions.
Are you going to answer the questions? So you'll be. It's a
probably
culture
not
that
gonna.
Does not. You know, that's the issue. You know, when we're talking not on the veteran side, we're talking on the actual service member side. I'm Army. I've been to Iraq, Afghanistan. You have these questions, but are you going to answer that stuff in that juncture?
No, I get it, but
stigma.
Is there an attempt? I'm saying from whether it's the service organization or the VA, is there an attempt to really sit down with a medical professional? I mean, that should be a prerequisite for leaving the service, shouldn't it? Where if you were in combat and you've seen, and it doesn't even have to be combat, it could be training, but you're being discharged. You were in the service years, and you were through some stressful situations, let's say. Shouldn't that be automatic? That not just filling out a form, not answer, because you said they may not want to admit it, or they may not even know it. How many people who with post-traumatic stress disorder know that they have it?
And
somebody answered that.
Yeah. Somebody. All I can say is that there's the whatever the procedure and the policy we try to put in place, but then there's the brass tacks. If there's a culture that does not promote help-seeking behavior, and so in this culture, even if I put you in front of someone, and you're gonna, maybe check the, hey, everything's okay. You're gonna say whatever you got to say to kind of get out of having a real conversation. Like that's at play here. That's just my take, just as someone who's gone through this, who had that.
Again,
experience. I know. Yeah, you want to add anything, Mr. Jason?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. Thanks, Chair, for the question. I just want to add to the Commissioner's point, to your specific time frame for which you're framing the question. As a service member, some are really eager to get out. They're kind of excited. They're on cloud nine that they're starting this new chapter of their life. So just like us all, our mental health challenges comes in waves. Sometimes I'm feeling my best, sometimes I'm not. During that period where they are transitioning out, I think there's a lot of optimism in that moment, in that transition period. So that's why it's so important for our staff and for our operations to continuously ask the PHQ-9 and GAD-7. So no matter what engagement or time frame we're speaking to somebody, these questions come up so we can gauge their anxiety and depression levels. So even if they don't necessarily think it themselves, but the results of those assessments gives us a greater idea of like, is this person dealing with minor depression right now? Maybe they don't even know that they're dealing with major depression, and this is just a coping mechanisms that they've been using to keep going. So to your question, Chair, when you're asking these questions, when we are engaging with these service members to give them these resources, to inform them of what options they have to serve themselves, we have to continuously keep pushing, because you never know when that person is going to actually opt into having that discussion, as the Commissioner just said. But at the time of transition, it's a little bit difficult because there is so much optimism around getting out of the military.
Right. I'll turn it over to my colleague in a second, but I'll just tell you, living with somebody with post-traumatic stress disorder, what set him off, and I'll go over a couple of things in his life. He got married in 1946. I was born in 51, so by the time, let's say 5 years into the marriage, he had 3 kids, and within the next year, my dad had 4 kids. He bought a new house, and then he worked for the Department of Agriculture. They moved to Chicago, and they said, you just bought a house, but you're going to have to move to Chicago to keep your job. So he had a mortgage. So that set him off. After he stopped functioning because his life was disrupted to the point where 4 kids, a mortgage, losing his job, having to move away from his family to go to Chicago. So just these hurdles. So after he got another job, still life kept coming at him. So you get to a point, and the VA knew nothing. There was nothing from the VA forever. It was like 50 years before we got eventually help, but it was too late. But there was no, again, my uncle told me he didn't like the Army. He said the Army, and my uncle had a different perspective on things, but he didn't exhibit the same things my dad did, because they were different people, and they were in the same battles. They were in the same situations. So my uncle could function, my dad couldn't. So we get to a point where anything in life that throws you a curve, and we all face hurdles in life, everybody has, but it affects people with post-traumatic stress. So I learned that because I saw what would make him drop out. Even though sometimes we got him on treatment, he could never hold it because he saw too many horrors. And like I said, the only person that ever told me of the horror was my uncle after my father passed. So the fact that he never got the treatment, the fact that the Vietnam vets didn't get the treatment, you would think we'd learn a lesson that there would be somebody, a mental health expert, interview everyone and then sit down and try to give them some treatment. I know it could be a situation of finances, money for this, but this is, we're investing in people's lives here. So what it did was we had a chain reaction where family members, and I have a short fuse because I experienced that. I experienced, I had to correct things in the family at 11 years old, and I had to carry that through until my father passed, and then only then did I learn something here. So this is, we really need to push for mental health treatment from this council, but not only from the council, but the VA on a federal level. I'll turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Lee.
Mr. Chair, is there any way I can just say something in response to that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
First off, we've got to keep checking in with folks throughout their lives. So that's what we're trying to do, to try to get into the battle rail of the muscle memory of constantly reaching out to these veterans to check in. Because in that situation you spoke of with your father, we don't know what he would have said at first when he was first getting out, but we know there were issues that came up later. So how do we do what we can to keep checking in on folks? That's why we do things like Mission Vet Check, other activities like that. So I just want to call out one piece. Another thing to say too is, this victim hero thing is serious in that we don't want to scare people off if we just infantilize them or automatically approach them as though we think they're crazy, we think something's wrong. We've got to do these things with care. And so in all of these interactions with our brothers and sisters, it's got to be done in a way where folks don't feel like, yeah, I'm going to stay away from them because they right away assume I'm a certain way. They've got these assumptions. And so that's kind of both things are true at the same time.
All right, but the fact that this city we put a lot of money into not-for-profits, we put a lot of money into programs, and the fact that we can't put in a minimal amount to try to reach veterans who are damaged. Let's face it, they go through a situation that is very stressful, that we can never imagine. I can't imagine not being in combat, but I could just imagine just looking at film of what they went through in the war. Having, you look at World War II, I always look at World War II footage because I just can't imagine charging, landing on a beach and then having, rounds come at you at all different directions and then seeing your buddies die. Just that one incident for 1 minute would affect, obviously, most of us. To go through that for years, that has to be so important that we counsel people on mental health, because we didn't know back then. I mean, they called it everything from you were shell-shocked, they had all these names for it, but they're humans. And again, this needs to be treated seriously. And the fact that this council won't fund minimal programs is a disgrace.
Question's bigger than the council, Mr. Chair, bigger than the state of the country. Do we as a country want to pay the full cost to be right by our veterans? Do we as a country want to pay the full cost to be right by our veterans?
We don't. And the fact that there are homeless veterans and they have to sleep in a congregate shelter, that's ridiculous. That's certainly a black mark on this country. The fact that we did this, we put these men through this and women through this, and we're not helping them to our fullest extent. You're doing what you can, but it's not a coincidence that you're the smallest agency. That's a testament to how we're treating our veterans. But let me turn it over to my co-chair, sorry.
Sure, and I just want to recognize really quickly before I start, we're joined by Councilmember Mealy on Zoom. Actually, what is your overall agency budget again?
Yeah, it's 6.14 million.
I would say MOPED's the smallest.
6.14 million breaks out to 3.9 million for personnel, 2.2 million for non-personnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then out of that, how much of the funding is actually used towards programs and services? And then, so let me take 2 steps back. So going along with your theme, Chair Holden, about data and tracking folks, because I know this is a big theme at a couple of our previous hearings where it's just so difficult to track and keep accountability in terms of the folks that come in and out through the system with our veterans. And so, and one of my biggest pet peeves is sort of the silos in different city agencies and how sometimes we're not working enough with the resources that we have and we're not being efficient with dollars that are available. So there are some things you highlighted in your testimony that I actually want to ask about in terms of how that is helping get to that goal, and if it's contributing rather to the increase in families, because I'm assuming that we're seeing an increase in families in the system that are coming through.
We're seeing an increase, but for us it's still teasing out For us, it's still teasing out who's who as far as those folks, like who are the families. We're still working to tease that part out, Madam Chair. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so going back actually, because I was excited to hear more about this program, the Military Family Advocate Program. So this is in public schools, and so can you just go a little bit more into, is it mostly high schools, elementary schools, how many total? I think it's 55 public schools now.
I'm going to defer to Dr. Mello, and that's just one district. I know we're in 3 districts right now, but I'll defer to Dr. DeMello on this.
Okay. And just also if you could speak to how that's been working with DOE.
Sure. So we partnered with DOE last year to pilot the Military Family Advocate Program. That program aims to implement one military family liaison in every school. Last year we piloted strictly with Staten Island, and the schools have a voluntary, they can opt in voluntarily. So 55 schools opted in, and we were able to outreach 242 military families. This year, we have extended our program to all districts, all schools. We're still in the process of onboarding. We have onboarded 4 districts, and slowly principals are voluntarily opting into the program. So there's not a final number for this year, as we're still opting in schools.
Okay, and who are the advocates that are being placed in the schools? Is it sort of, do they get training? Are they folks with lived experience? If you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so the Military Family Advocate can vary from schools. These are already staff members. They can vary from being parent advocates, guidance counselors, assistant principals. It's really dependent on who the principal sees best to fill this role.
Okay, got it. So it could be already current staff members within the schools as well. Okay. And hopefully they're trained to handle a lot of the delicate situations
Majority of the roles, they have relationships with the community, with the school staff, so they're really well positioned to serve as a military family advocate.
Okay, awesome. And sorry, I'm just skipping around. Can you actually, so in terms of expanding the family resources, so I know that you offer different types of, let's just say, information on breast cancer screenings, like you mentioned, and other health resources. So is that an intentional partnership with DOHMH? If you could talk a little bit more about what that looks like, not just with those types of services, but in general with mental health services with DOHMH?
Yes, we have an ongoing relationship with DOHMH where they share our programs with us, and in turn, we share our programs that we offer our veterans. We also provide trainings for their programs, how to access them, who they're available for, and we provide military cultural competency to their various programs. We have trained multiple city agencies. We've trained the Office of Mental Health from the state, Mobile Crisis, the ACT team, private partners. We have a training tomorrow, a virtual training for open seats for 500 participants on veterans' mental health. If you attend, it's 1 free continuing education credit. So we have ongoing trainings. We feel like, although we have the mental health organizations that specialize in veterans' mental health, oftentimes they aren't coming to us. The city is stacked with so many mental health providers that if you have a child who's suffering from mental health, they're going to the school first. They're going to their primary care provider first, their pediatrician first. So we feel that it's more effective to train these providers on military cultural competency to make them all part of our network.
Okay. And then in that same vein, where are you guys getting the curriculum from for the training programs? Is that something that comes through the VA, or is it something you guys have developed? If you could just speak to that a little bit. And also, you mentioned the ACT team, because I know that, for those that don't know, I know that there's so many outreach teams. Some are with EMS, some are with DOHMH, some are city, some are state level, some are with the homeless services. So it's very sort of separate, but each have their own functions. And I just wonder if you guys are all working with the different outreach teams that are going out there and trying to identify some of the homeless services and the folks that are out there that need further help.
Yeah, so we partner with a lot of the organizations that involve themselves in mental health and social service programs, and we bring back their expertise, and that's how we develop programs. They contribute their expertise with their particular population. So homeless veterans, we took from them. Military sexual trauma trainings, we pulled the best from that. So I feel like we work with our providers to provide the best training with their expertise.
Thank you. And then if they do need other further supportive services, what does that look like in terms of your referral? handoff.
Say that again? I'm sorry.
Oh, so if you guys are helping some of the families and the veterans and the family members of veterans, if they need further assistance or help that is sort of much more complicated, then what does that referral system look like between agencies, and what does the handoff look like?
So when we have a family that needs a higher level of care, we sit down and we have a consultation with them. I can give you an example of that. Last week, we had a veteran through the Military Family Advocate Program reached out to their military family advocate. Through an unfortunate series of deaths, a 75-year-old now was responsible for a 10-year-old child. They didn't really understand how to take care of this child. They needed food resources. So we were able to connect them to the Girl Scouts of America, various DAFTA programs, food resources. And so I feel like working with the different partners, we're able to fill in multiple gaps and provide more of a whole health model to fully support the veteran and their family.
Nice. And then really quickly, do you guys have direct connections and relationships to the nonprofit organizations that are providing these other supportive services?
Yeah, in multiple ways. A lot of these organizations are part of Veterans Mental Health Coalition.
Yeah.
And we
Okay,
just
got
try
it.
to
Yeah.
have regular communication to be up to date on their programs.
Okay, awesome. And just in terms of the peer support and community-based programs, because, you know, I'm definitely a huge fan of these types of programs, and I feel like they're very impactful and effective. And just wondering, what's the overall funding that you have available for these programs and services?
We don't have funding. What we have is we have collaborations. So, for example, we just did a very large event at Yankee Stadium, and we collaborated with Blue Star Families. And Blue Star Families themselves offer a number of different types of peer-to-peer type of programs. Also, the American Red Cross has a big Survivors Network type of program, a peer program. We have a lovely lady in our office who participates in the American Red Cross Survivors Network. So those are two examples of peer-to-peer for families in that regard.
I just want to add, as far as the Dwyer program too, as far as funding that we have to support that.
Yeah.
So there's, for the Joseph P. Dwyer program, annually, it's, right now it's at $416,000 per year we're receiving from the state to push out for that program. That's what we really encourage folks to apply at nyc.gov/VetDwyer. The purpose of that money for us is to put it in the hands of groups that are doing things on the ground to normalize help-seeking behavior amongst veteran and military families. And so that's an annual piece from the Aid to Localities budget.
And then for the other programs, would you say that even though there's no funding per se in it and you guys are collaborating with coalitions, is it fair to say that you all are the ones coordinating it, or are there other nonprofits or folks that are taking the lead and then you provide support?
So we've been taking the lead in creating a lot of these events. We do a very large event at City Fields with the Mets. We're hoping to do another one. We also did the Yankee event. We did a wonderful women veterans event in June. It's all, you know, again, with our money, minimal money. We're pretty good at, again, collaboration. What we do is we also invite a lot of the not-for-profits as well as the city agencies to table, and that's, so it becomes more like a resource fair extension in that regard.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, Councilwoman, but just to be clear, like, we are not, as you know from our agency, we are not like a clinical staff. So to answer your question, most of our partners are coming to us with either a grant they've received or a program through their funders that they feel compelled to bring to our attention so we can help them amplify that program. And if there's opportunities for us to partner with them, as Ellen said, and kind of amplify that message, we certainly do that.
I just want to add one other thing too. The unique thing that we bring to this, in my opinion, Madam Chair, is data. Like, we have a better handle on who our veterans are and how to reach out to them, what their contact information is, so we can amplify things. As far as if a partner has something they're doing, they want us to spread the word, we do that. At the same time, just being able to, if we have anything that we can push, to just let the veteran and military families know. So I feel like data is the thing that we can deliver so we can try to identify more of our people.
Great. Just want to recognize we've been joined by Councilmember Caban. And thank you so much actually for the recommendations to the council, just in terms of very practical things that we can do. For example, the veteran indicator question on our constituent forms. I think that's something that, if we can put into practice would be great, especially for all 51 council members. And hopefully we can figure out a way to then coordinate and, with you all and your agency and give that data back. So those are very helpful. So I just want to say thank you for those recommendations. And just really quickly before I pass it on to my colleagues is, have you seen more challenges either in the cultural and linguistic aspects as, we have veterans that are serving in much more various diverse communities and coming from different backgrounds? And if that's the case, how have you been adjusting your approach to those families?
I'm going to make a comment, then I'll pass it to Lauren and Ellen. When we look at our veterans, 71% of our veterans are 55 or older. So we have a lot of folks who are Vietnam era and prior to that. And that's where we got rid of the draft in 1973. And so you've got a different population if you look at from that older group of veterans. When you fast forward to what we have now, where now this era of veterans, as far as like Jason and I, you've got a smaller military where we are, we put more on that military. We're using contractors to do things that used to have service members do. So you've got contractors doing things that would be considered, jobs that are not in harm's way, let's say. You also have technology doing more as well. And so with those factors, when you look at today's force, active duty and Guard and Reserve, because I'm a reservist right now, I can tell you, we get it in as well. You've just got more and more strain, if you will, or more of a load being put on this younger group of veterans. And so it's about being able to calibrate between the older veterans, who are our majority, but who may not have as much wear and tear, for lack of better words, but then also looking at our younger veterans, who are a growing group that has its issues. And then I have to point out that our women veterans, that's the fastest growing demographic as well. That the number of women veterans we looked at over like it was a 2-year period or so, we saw like 3,500 was an increase in our number of women veterans. Even though our veteran population is declining overall, our women veteran population is increasing. So being sensitive to those needs. So yeah.
Thank you. And I'll pass it back to Chair Holden. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Just to ask a general question, then I'm going to turn it over to some of my colleagues. But your experiences, and it could be anyone on the panel, what programs in mental health are working the best, especially for families that because I mentioned RTM, and I did experience success with two family members that went on RTM, thanks to Dr. Burke, and it helped them. But what are the promising treatments, whether it's meditation or any other programs that you can point to that we should be investing in for our veterans, especially the families too?
So it's very hard to pick one. So it's very hard to pick one program. Depending on the situation and the circumstance, they can all be very effective. Some work better for separated families, others work better with younger children, some work better with older high school children if it's a group setting. So I think it really varies, but they can all be very promising depending on the circumstance.
I know, but how do we measure outcomes here? Because if we're going to keep investing into programs for mental health, we have to find out which ones are working the best. Meaning, I know it's hard to track, but that needs to be measured somewhat. So we could put money where it's most needed, where it had the most success. I know it's tailored to the individual person, but there are programs that have a tremendous amount of success. And this hearing is on families. So I really want to, we asked how many families are enrolled in programs. The commissioner says he's going to get back to us on, but I'd like to, how are we measuring outcomes? I mean, how do you measure outcomes, in programs? How do you know which ones are working? Which ones we have to invest more in? I mean, we need to start thinking about that. I'm not sure we're going to get an answer, but
yeah, I would say that we should be checking with our colleagues at Columbia Presbyterian's Military Family Program, also NYU's program. I think we need to go to the experts in terms of understanding that better. Northwell Health has a very interesting relationship with Northport VA, and they have a behavioral health family institute out in Bayshore, Long Island. I think if we talk to those experts, they could probably give us a better understanding of success with outcomes.
Yeah, we did have a hearing where we had some veterans who came back and said, this program's working, that program's working, they like this, they like that. We're going to hear some from advocates, but I'd like to, at least in government, I mean, I think if we could somehow, and DVS could to generate this maybe in a questionnaire, when the person is enrolled, that there's a follow-up, a questionnaire. I don't know if they're going to fill it out, or somebody needs to sit with someone, but we need to start to get some feedback.
I think that.
And I know you said that it's the not-for-profits, but we have them. They came to us and they told us about certain programs, but we didn't really talk about families. That's what I'm saying here.
As I say, to the council's credit, I think Local Law 39 is going to help us get at this.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, that's really, and so
Right.
we're looking forward to being able to get all that data from all the various agencies and all the mental health offerings in the city and then report back. So I think that's going to be a big one. And I just want to flag that, you know, we do have our 2024 military veteran family survey, where we've gone through the survey phase. Now there's a focus group phase of that. So we're hoping that maybe those results give us something that can be of value to answer this, Mr. Chair. But you know, it's a very good question.
And Mr. Chair, I'd also like to add that, you know, we were one of, I think, maybe the most early adopters of care coordination in the city with Vet Connect NYC, and we're fairly familiar with case management and the social workers who utilize different programs to track different metrics for efficacy and things. And I would like to bring to attention that much of these wonderful pieces of technology, one that we're working on right now where we're relaunching Vet Connect, is wonderful, but ultimately it comes down to the personnel who is utilizing the software and who are collecting that information and putting it into the software for us to reach those outcomes. Given today's climate, you know, the number of people who need the mental health services, sometimes the demand and the caseloads of these social workers are very large. And so to collect the data, it is more of a question of, are we investing in the caseworkers, in the people who are on the ground talking to these people every day?
Exactly, yeah.
Because that's really where it's going to occur. The technology could be wonderful, but are we, you know, do they have sustainable wages to keep them in that position? Are they trained accordingly?
Yeah, but that's what I mentioned before with when you're discharged from the service, does somebody actually sit with you? And I think the answer was no. It was a questionnaire that was filled out, right?
Yeah, they have classes.
I mean, in the reserves.
It's a TAP class. Yeah,
I
but
mean,
correct.
there are special situations that you have because many of the reservists have families already, and they have to leave their families. So, you know, what are some of the pressures on the reservists that go out? And you're Exhibit A here as going and being deployed at a spur of the moment, right?
I think that another piece of this too is we didn't even talk about when you're within an active duty unit, you're with one group of folks, at least at that point. And so there's some sort of unity between those families when that person goes. Whereas if you're Guard or Reserve, if you're Guard, families can be all over the state, Reserve, all over the country. And so what does that look like too? So I mean, I agree with you, Mr. Chair. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So I want to turn it over to Councilman.
Chair, one more
Oh,
thing.
I'm sorry.
You know, this back to Schedule C funding. If there's a way for us to also develop mechanisms for there be a greater line of communication on what the requirements are associated with the funding they receive for Schedule C, some sort of requirement where if they're utilizing our software, they have to work with us and give us those case notes and the results of the money that City Council is investing in those nonprofits. Right now, you know, we have to search for these nonprofits and engage with them to work with us. And to Chair Lee's question earlier, these nonprofits are working with us at no cost. We don't have a contractual relationship, so we're leaning on them to give us the information to help us collectively reach the outcomes we want to.
So
But
he's speaking to the mental health services as far as if it's coming through council funding, how can we give you answers to these same questions? You know,
Yes.
what way do we have to get back to you on what you directly are funding? So yeah.
Yeah, just to find out outcomes. I think that conversation has to be ongoing and updated from time to time.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment also. I think, because I know that with our council discretionary funding and the initiative funding, we do ask for reports regularly from the nonprofits, and so maybe it's just a matter of us having a conversation with you all to say what types of data are you all looking for that would be helpful? And then also, and I don't know if I'm overstepping because I do need to check back with our council finance team and see if this is doable, but, and just making sure that we can ask them and then also coordinate of how to pass that off to you guys.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I'm going to go to colleagues. Councilmember Mombrado.
Good afternoon, everybody. So basically, I want to build off of that. How is it that we can use our discretionary funding to help these mental health initiatives for veterans? Is it better to give it to the VA? Is it better to give it to DVS? Or are there specific nonprofits that we can, that you can maybe pass along their information to us that we can look into, where we could tailor it to our communities? Or like, what is the best way to go about this?
I'm gonna start this and pass it over to Ellen. I think for us, we've been trying to tell our veteran organizations, hey, go to, it's nyc.gov/vet council funding. Where we list everything about this process if someone's looking to apply. Also, we've worked with the LaGuardia Community College, the Apex Accelerator, where there's staff there who will help the veterans who are looking to apply for this, who need to get through these hoops of the application piece and the technical assistance. So for us, we've been attacking it from a bottom-up way so far, council members, as far as how do we let folks know about it. But then this next question for you is like, well, what about the other side of the market, which is you guys, as far as how do we provide, advise you on what is out there so you know what is available? I'm gonna defer to Ellen.
Yeah, one of the major areas that I think that is very deficient is training mental health professionals in military cultural competency. And I think that, we have Lauren. She's the only person who is doing it. And hopefully she will be reaching, 500 people tomorrow. But that's just a small, small in the huge bucket that's really required. So that takes many forms, okay? It takes an incentive for mental health professionals to want this training in many cases. We're not asking for a requirement, but it also takes some upstream training when they're going for their MSWs and for their medical degrees and their nursing degrees. I mean, all of this should be really not only a continuing education credit, but it should be built into their programs. I think that's really important. Some medical professionals do intern at the VA, and I think that's really helpful in terms of their career development and their understanding, but so many of them don't go back to the VA to actually practice. So I think that's a major piece for us. It means, again, is the ability for us to be able to duplicate and replicate Lauren, okay, in so many, I'm a twin, so I can talk about that. I understand replication. I also have twin brothers, so I can talk about that piece of it too. So those are some pieces from what our needs are. Part of it is building in this military cultural competency at our city agencies. That's really, really important. We're making an attempt to get Lauren out to the health and hospitals. I think there are about 25 of them at this point in time. And that's hard to do when there's so many other things. We have the Military Family Advocacy Program that I think is going to do amazing demand on Lauren's time also, but it will give us a really understanding day-to-day of what it looks like at the family level in many cases. I mean, those are just a couple of things in terms of being able to really develop our military cultural competency piece of it, as well as the military family advocacy program.
I want to piggyback on Ellen, something she said too, Councilmember Mombrado. You see how what we do, we will provide this type of training to anyone, any place, anytime. So if you have existing groups in your district that you'd like to go through this, reach out, and we're happy to support. Okay. And so I just want to call that out. And then something else too is sometimes I feel as though folks think I've got to only give this money to a veteran organization. No, if they are working to help our people, we do not discriminate. Just my advice too is to not think of it only as who are the veteran organizations in my district, let me just work on them, but just who will be right by these veterans, period. Who do I know who's good with anything that normalizes help-seeking behavior amongst those groups? And then, that I would just advise that.
Okay, we actually have a school in our community that teaches mental health. I would love to connect you guys with them. We donated, gave discretionary funding to the organization, and I would love to see if maybe you can get into the school, maybe give them the tools that they need going forward. And if you could at some point just give me a list of some of the organizations that you are working with, nonprofits, I would love to have that. And thank you. Thank you for coming today.
I also think the RTM program really is something to very much consider. We're trying to recruit veterans for that program with Operation Warrior Shield. We're real true believers that could really be a very, very important program. Yeah.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Councilmember Palladino has some questions.
Good afternoon. Welcome. I have several questions. It's pertaining to the kids in school. I want to just put it out there that when I first took office, I had met with some young veterans, late 30s, early 40s. And they had suggested to me in my office that we have a request in right now from 2022 to have veteran advocates in every school. This city pushed back, telling us that the schools already have an advocacy program. And there's no reason, and there's not that many veterans who really need it, families, or require it. That piece of legislation is still sitting. We renew it each year. So while you're looking for your outside resources and collaboration and coalitions to fund you, I have legislation in that the city is pushing back on, not even to introduce, to bring it onto the floor, to bring it to committee. Because I do believe that, how many schools do you have right now that have the advocates in the schools?
It's a number that's continually growing because we're onboarding weekly,
Right, well, how many schools are there in the city of New York?
about 1,800.
Right, and how many do you have? How many schools?
It's 242 in Staten Island, but we've got we have 3 more districts now, but the first year of this, which is last year, it's 242.
So it's about a third of our schools have got advocates in the schools to help the military families? Or am I misunderstanding it?
Yeah, we have 55 schools from Staten Island last year. It's
And 242 families, sorry,
Yeah,
242
242
families. So we can be 55 schools in Staten Island, there are 242 families assisted through Staten Island, just using that as kind of a proxy.
Well, that's not a whole lot, is it? That's my point. So if we were to actually pass legislation or bring some sort of bill to the floor, as I have introduced from 2022, because this young man was a vet and he came in with some of his friends, and they live in my area and they are worried. Some do not live in my district and they are concerned. This was something that really just fell right on my lap. I did not expect that. I didn't even know this problem existed in 2022 about the troubles that some of these kids are facing in school. So I'd like that to be brought to the forefront. The fact that there is legislation sitting right now in City Council that really should be looked at. Outside resources for money. I get it. You got to do that right now. But if we were to pass legislation, then the city would have to fund you, wouldn't it? It would have to fund your program? Do I understand that correctly? Yes? Yes?
I don't know.
If I put legislation in, if I put legislation in requesting that every school has a veteran advocate there so that they can, train somebody to be in the school to help these kids with special needs because they're from military families. So if I put legislation in, and it should get enough people to sign on, and it goes to committee, and it should pass on the floor, then you don't have to worry about money, because it's already, which would be a very good thing, right? We've got over 1 million kids, or 900,000 kids in our city school system. Maybe 200,000 of them need help. Maybe 150,000 of them need
I
help.
want to just say, Councilmember,
Sure.
this idea of MFA for us, how we came at it, we know that in the schools there are advocates for various communities.
Right.
There's an advocate for our LGBTQ students. There's
Sure.
an advocate for our students who are currently housing insecure. There's an advocate for folks who experience bullying. And so for us, the goal was to have something like this, but just for those who are military veteran affiliated students.
I agree with you 100%, and I think it's worth the while for the city to take a look at this legislation that I have in. I just wanted to make you aware that there is something in there that the city is choosing not to look at.
Thank you, Vicky.
Sorry, just one thing I wanted to contribute is that this military family advocate program ended up having a much greater reach than expected, because not only do we tap into the military families connected to the schools, but there are a fair share of staff who are pinging
That's
their
true.
neighbors, their grandparents.
That's
I
right.
have an uncle, I know I have a brother, so it's really going deep into the community other than people associated with the child in the family
It's true.
and the school.
That's very true, but I think that, like you say, the way we reach out to other communities inside of our schools for bullying and other things, these kids maybe just need to have a resource right there.
There's also another piece to it. A lot of the military families choose New York City particularly because of the special services in our schools. And Lauren can talk a little bit about a mother that came to us about a special needs that the mother had. Lauren, you want to talk about?
Yeah, we had a Coast Guard family that came to us because her paperwork was not put in on time for special education services with the DOE. And they did not grant her special education services. Her child was 6 weeks into the school year with no programs. Because of the advocacy that we had through the Military Family Advocate Program, the child was able to receive services and be connected within the same week, connected to the right people the next day. So the advocacy goes a long way.
And the backdrop here is you've got the Coast Guard will send many of its active duty families to New York City, and these are the families that have children with special needs because they believe they will get better service than being stationed elsewhere. Something the Commandant of the Coast Guard 2 years ago said to me, and it's anywhere from any given year, you got 30 to 50% of our Coast Guard active families who may have children who have certain needs, so we're doing what we can to be right by them.
And we developed a nice relationship with District 75, so that, for that. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Okay, council member, that's it? Yes. All right, thank you. All right. Commissioner, you have any more questions? 'Cause, I just want to, you travel around the country a lot, because sometimes I'll call and you're somewhere else and, flying around. But what lessons has DVS learned from other cities or states regarding supporting the mental health of veterans' families? And are there any best practices you've adopted from your travels?
I'm going to defer to Lauren on that. I just want to say one piece of it. Transition.
Could you pull the mic?
I'm sorry. I'm going to defer to Lauren for the meat of that. But one piece of this I want to say, it's transition, transition, transition. We saw what other states were doing as far as putting together their own transition assistance programs, and so that's what we said, let's do something that we do now out at Citi Field at Yankee Stadium. We've worked lockstep with others who do this at the state level and DC to get the information for the veterans who are coming home, so we know who they are as soon as they get here. So we're in a place now, as I mentioned in the last hearing, where as soon as DD 214 is processed, we have that. Also, when a veteran fills out a form called a DD 2648 saying, I'm going to come to New York, when I get out of the military, I'm going to go to New York within the next year, 2 years, et cetera, we get that information too. And so we're really trying to be on offense with this, and those are some things that we've gotten from it. This is about forming a relationship. I can't even help you with mental health if I don't know who you are and if you don't trust me. And so I just say that transition is a key component, and that we've really taken the lead as far as looking at what our other peers have done at the state level. And I'll defer to Lauren to get other phrases.
Hi, so we have built a relationship with LA County because they're similar in size, veteran population needs. And so we were looking at their Veteran Peer Access Network, where they have a group of veterans that go out into the community to engage, support, consult with, teach about programs. Similarly, we have started a vet-to-vet program where we're currently onboarding the VA work study, where they can go out into the community with a similar model of engaging, supporting, educating, identifying our veterans.
So what, they go to the VSOs, or how do they reach the veterans, or they just have a database?
Yeah, so we're still onboarding for the program, but in theory, they would go to various locations where veterans congregate. It could be student veterans at local universities. It can be VSOs. It can be local legions. It can be, employee resource groups, H+H. So various locations just where we can get our messaging out there.
And do they get paid, the people that go out? They don't get paid, they volunteer.
Yeah. They get paid through the VA.
Oh, they do get paid?
VA work study, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
They can
'cause-
they can work up to 25 hours a week.
See, this is what I think we should have in New York City. Certainly with the veteran treatment courts, there's a mentoring program. It's a volunteer basis, and I think we just have a handful of, and we had a hearing on this, and the mentor said, well, I gotta pay for even my car fare. I could, I don't get a stipend even. And mentoring is so important. I mean, I could see that for vets. I could see somebody that served having an impact on that individual because they served too, and they could speak to the problems that they're having.
Mr. Chair, I want to say this is something for that group, United Veteran Mentors, that's Herb Sweat's group. That is something that we have funded. I just want to put that out there too, as far as something that we very much see the value in that, and that's something that we have
Yeah,
spent some of
but
our
the
money.
veteran treatment courts, are we paying those mentors?
Not the court. For us, it's a nonprofit that provides mentorship to. So it's a place where
Right.
they're working with mentors for this very triaging this very point. So that's something that we have supported as an agency.
But I like the model, the LA County model, because it sounds like they're going out into the communities, they're going in civic meetings, they're going to community boards, let's say. I think this should, if we can do see that program, talk a bit more about it, we could model it here on a larger basis maybe and actually fund that. But that seemed like that's why I said the peer-to-peer is probably the best program, and especially in the veteran treatment courts, because they need help. Obviously, veterans that have been arrested, and they need to know that there's somebody there for them, and that can help straighten out their lives. So that's why I was so big on supporting with funding VSOs, because that's where the mentoring can happen, and that's where the contacts can happen, even on family issues.
I have to say this, we're going on offense so much to try to make sure our veteran groups know, hey, we have funding available now, please apply. And this goes back to Dwyer, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
And so for us to be able to, I don't want anyone to say, hey, the resources weren't there for me. And so we encourage all who are in our community, if it normalizes help-seeking behavior amongst veteran and military families, it's nyc.gov/VetDwyer. We've extended the deadline. It is November 25th, that's a Monday, it's 2 p.m. And so for us, we just want our folks to take that next step to know that we have the resources we're trying to get into our people's hands to help. So I just wanted to say that.
Right. Chair, also want to just add onto the question of what other cities are doing. I do want to just acknowledge that many cities are actually looking towards us. The veteran indicator question, local law, and what we've incorporated, many cities and states, specifically the state of Oregon, is trying to get a law like that passed in their state, and our Mission Vet Check program won an award from the VA. So we do have, we've certainly made ourselves a footprint, along with City Council with us across the country on what programs we're making for veterans.
Great.
I just want to acknowledge that and thank the council for your support.
Great. So I want to thank you all for testimony. It's great. We learned a lot, and I thank you. And if you could just get us how many families are involved in some treatment, so that would be important, because that was the topic of this hearing. Thank you so much.
We will follow up with all the data
Thank you.
questions.
Since this is the last hearing prior to Veterans Day, I just want to say Happy Veterans Day to
Happy
all
Veterans Day,
in our
yeah.
community, veteran military
Well,
families.
we'll see a lot of each other this next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
While we're waiting, I'm just going to read something that we have to read. I now open the hearing for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a formal government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak, at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant at Arms in the back, and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have, and I guess we can give 3 minutes, right, to speak on today's hearing topic, supporting the families of veterans with PTSD. If you have a written statement or additional written testimony and you wish to submit it for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant at Arms. Please note that witnesses who are here will testify before those on Zoom. So we do have, I think we have one person, two people now? Okay.
2 people on Zoom.
2 people on Zoom and, okay. All right, our first panel, Alicia Kershaw, Coco Colane. She's here. Is Margaret Gambaro here? Margaret? Yes. All right, you can come up to the table. And that's it? This is on Zoom? Okay, and Mount Lacey. Did I get everybody? I got everybody, okay. Is Mount Lacey coming up? Or? All right, we could start. We'll start. Yeah.
Director, my name's Alicia Kershaw. I'm the Executive Director of Gallup NYC. We provide therapeutic horsemanship programs to veterans and their families. I first would like to thank the committee and the council for the past financial support of our program, and Councilmember Holden for coming to visit our program, which was very, very much appreciated. My dad also was a veteran and also suffered quite a bit from it, though I don't think anyone realized it till many years after the fact. Gallup welcomes veterans and their families with no restrictions as to age or branch or conflict or discharge. We are multi-generational. We have veterans riding with their children, and that I have a prepared statement, but I'll submit that for the record, because what I'd really like to do is just tell you about a few of our veterans and their families. I am steeped in using horses as a therapeutic approach, but I realize for some people that's kind of an oddball thing, frankly. But it really is a remarkable program. One of our veterans, a man named Juan Torona, rides with his wife and his 2 children, and he recently spoke at a fundraising event about how important it was for him to have the opportunity to bond with his family after being separated from them in so many overseas assignments. He had been in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was at the program the other day, and I met a woman veteran who is riding with her child who is on the spectrum. And so we are able to provide, we work primarily with children on the autism spectrum, so we're able to provide services, relevant services to him as well as to her. We also have a veteran named Noel Griffin who, when he came to us, I think he would describe himself as being depressed. He called it having a lot of dark days. And he was at our program one day. He's been trying for quite a while to make friends with this one particular horse named Misty. And Misty is not, like a lot of veterans, is not quick to trust. But on one of what Noel described as his very dark days, Misty came up to him and nudged him and stayed with him during the time he was with us. And Noel is now, he's a spokesman for us. He is a mentor to new veterans coming into our program. He is, without exaggeration, a completely changed person from this experience with our program. And he was encouraged to come by his sister and his 2 nieces, so he has a family element too. Just picking up quickly on some of the things that were mentioned, we do measure outcomes with our veterans, And we have a menu of outcomes that we look for in addition to writing skills. And we're very interested in research. And we have growing connections with the VA. We get referrals from the Manhattan VA now, and we're starting work with groups, mental health groups from the Brooklyn VA. And these are relatively new relationships and very gratifying because, like I say, we really see remarkable changes in our veterans and their families when they're at our program. So thank you very much for your time.
And that program should be expanded, by the way, because it doesn't, you know, the horses, like some people in this are, well, what is a horse going to do? It actually gives them something to bond with their family members, like you mentioned, with their spouses, but it also gets them to forget about, you know, their experiences, their bad experiences, and gets them on. I mean, it could be the arts, which our next hearing will be about how to connect with the arts. But this is I've seen the program. It's a wonderful program. It's very peaceful there too. You wouldn't think because it's right by the, you know.
To me, it's kind of chaotic, but yeah, it's
yeah.
peaceful.
I mean, it's near the expressways and
Yeah.
a lot of. But it actually is very, very peaceful there. So I could see how that could be such great therapy. And
Thank you for those kind words.
yes,
It's very calming to be around a horse, and if you want, the horse is very empathetic and reactive to people. We've been partners with horses for thousands of years. So when you approach a horse and you want that horse to be comfortable with you and spend time with you, you need to be calm, and you get a very positive sort of feedback loop of that calm. We have done research on anxiety with NYU Child Center and showed dramatic decreases in anxiety of people being around horses. So there is, come out and visit. There's something, we'll get you calmed down too. There's something very
well, you know, you have space to expand too, which would be.
Very, very much want to expand. We could do a lot more.
So we have a capital plan that we could present sometime in January, if you can put that forth, because I thought there were some great ideas. You have a lot of space there that is underutilized.
We're in a park in, our main site is a park in Howard Beach. And yeah, I would be happy to bring you a capital plan. We have a lot of ideas for expanding.
And speaking of Howard Beach, we have the council member who's going to, Ariola, who's going to ask some questions, or you have a, yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to make a statement because Sunrise Stables is in my district, and I'm so proud to have you there, and the work that you do there is so vital with veterans, with children with autism, with our seniors, for volunteerism, and everything that you say on these papers that you do is, you couldn't have enough paper because there is so much that you do. You took a stable that was not well received by our community and turned it into something that is beloved by our community, and the people that you're helping, it's so evident. So I'm so proud to fund it. I am so proud to be in support of your growth there, and I look forward to it, and I urge all of my colleagues to support Gallup NYC, because it's not just, even though it's housed in Howard Beach and in the 32nd, they serve all of the borough and all of the city. So thank you for everything that you do.
Well, thank you.
And we've even
Thank
come
you
out as
very
a
much.
staff for a staff enrichment day, which was great.
Yeah, that would be.
So we thank you very much.
Everyone is welcome anytime.
Thank you
so
again.
much for your support.
Thank you. Matt Lacy, yeah, go ahead. I'll go last. Oh, you want to go last? Okay.
Hi, I'm Coco Colhane, the Executive Director of the Veteran Advocacy Project. We provide free legal services to veterans and their families, and we focus on working with those who live with post-traumatic stress disorder, brain injury, and other mental health conditions. I want to urge the council to focus on data, because it feels like there are a lot of really great ideas floating around, but absolutely no data backing it up. One of the things I think is most important that we do is we connect clients to mental health. Like, we're removing the barriers to get them there. They're the front lines. We work with probably about 10 programs. I'm only aware of one that works with families. So if there are wait lists at these programs where we're sending our clients, I would imagine that one program probably has wait lists as well. We didn't hear anything about those programs directly today. I think it's really important to identify them and to fund, doing the outreach, doing the education around the city is so crucial. And I think that's probably one of the best things that was discussed today, because these families are interacting at other points. They're not all coming to DVS. But in terms of funding, I think finding the existing programs that we know are successful, that have data, is so important. One of the things, this RTM came up, I was looking at a study that shows that all the studies done of it, there's nothing done after 2 weeks. There's bias in, like, it was an overview, and maybe I have it wrong, I'm not a medical provider, but we should look at that before we have a city agency recruiting people for that trademarked program. Like, that's worrisome. The other thing is that how many military families are there in the city, right? I mean, if you look at the most recent stats, there are 130,000 veterans. 25–30% of them are of an age where they could have kids at a school age. So what are we looking at? What is the need? And to really focus on that before legislating anything, because I think a lot of times, really good intention, like DVS is supposed to have a peer hotline. That was a bill that was introduced in 2018 and was passed in 2021 because it, went unsigned on the mayor's desk. What's going on with that? There's a resolution where one of the caregiver cities for the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. What have we done about that? Where are we still involved? What does that mean for New York? I just think some of these things we need to really follow up and making sure that the very limited resources are being spent really wisely. Thank you.
And that's exactly what I was asking, because, what's the outcomes on it? Where should we put the more money into? And you have a wealth of information. I'd like to, meet with you and we can discuss this, because you're seeing on the front lines, what is the VA not doing that they could be doing? What does DVS do, that they could? You mentioned a couple of things, but because the agency is so small, that's the biggest problem that we're seeing. They don't have the personnel, they don't have the funding, they don't have much. So we need to do, but I'd like to sit down, especially about the VA, where we should be focusing our efforts with the VA. So thank you so much for your testimony. It's very valuable.
Hello, my name is Margaret Gambaro. I am the manager of Access Initiatives at Intrepid Museum. I want to start by saying thank you to Chair Holden and the Committee of Veterans and Chair Lee and the Committee of Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addiction for holding today's hearing on supporting families of veterans with PTSD. I also just want to say thank you to Chair Holden and the committee members and the staff for your efforts to connect veterans and with one another and with cultural resources like Intrepid Museum. Without your support, we would not have our programs. So through the museum's Veteran Access Initiative, we offer exclusive specialized programs for veterans and veteran communities, as well as unique museum experiences for military families in recognition of the sacrifice these families have made. These experiences include free admission for the whole family during Kids Week, as well as special access to private events and special benefits during public programs. For example, at the larger events such as Astronomy Night, we provide forums such as a small astronaut meet and greet for members of the for our museum members and veterans and their families before the public event. Since it's smaller, it gives any veteran who finds crowds overwhelming the chance to have a memorable and low-stress experience with their family. The museum's exhibitions and tours gives families an entry point to talk about their veteran service. For example, after seeing the bunks in the enlisted berthing during a tour, a veteran started talking to his family for the first time about his sleeping quarters during his service. We have an ongoing partnership with Exit 12 Dance Company to host therapeutic workshops for veteran and family members, culminating in a public performance on the flight deck. Every June, we host a luncheon for veteran and military families before the museum's Inclusive Family Day. We host screenings of films about military and veteran experiences, including PTSD, for veterans and their loved ones. Most recently, we partnered with the Met Opera for a program about women and mothers in the military based on their opera Grounded. Since 2015, Intrepid Museum has been offering programs like the ones I just mentioned and many others to veterans' families free of charge. Additionally, the museum is a Blue Star Museum, which offers free admission to current service members and their families during the summer. By taking away a financial barrier, we give more families the opportunity to connect with both one another and cultural opportunities. Thank you again for your support and for the opportunity to speak here today.
Thanks, Margaret. I love the fact that you get veterans to talk about their service, which very few do, especially if they had a bad experience. Many of them have. And that I'd like to learn more about, if we could expand that. And I'd like to hear some of your ideas on expansion of the Intrepid, because it's such a great place to go and visit. But it really, the fact that the veterans can bring their families is very important to this topic, if we can expand that, because I would have loved to have been there when the veteran got to talk about their service, and I could see the families, actually hear that, because that needs to be done. And thank you, thank you. But so let's talk about other programs that we can expand in Intrepid that you think are worthwhile.
So are you asking about specific programs?
Well, if you have something, like one or two off the top of your head, I don't want to put pressure on you, but I do want to hear anything that we could do as a committee to really support the Intrepid.
Yeah, definitely. I will say, as I mentioned before, the tours that we do free tours for veterans, for veteran organizations and also veteran family organizations. And we are connected to Blue Star Families, and that does help a lot, as I mentioned, by just giving that tour, giving that space for conversations. We usually, anytime when we're doing a tour for veterans, we kind of go less on just the regular tour that we would usually give to the civilian public, and let the veterans speak more to their experiences, and ask questions, and even ask personal questions like, is this something like your experience? Or what did you go through a crossing the line ceremony? What was it like? Different things like that. And also, one program that I did not mention, but just that has been successful, is our Intrepid After Hours, which is for veteran and current service members only. And through that, we give a space for veteran and current service members, especially ones that may not feel welcome at traditional veteran and military spaces, to talk to each other and to share their experiences.
And they could bring their families too to the
This one, they don't bring their family, but it has led to them bringing their families.
Okay,
it has led to them bringing their families to see Top Gun on the flight deck. It has led one gentleman, him and his husband just became volunteers at the museum, and it was, for some of our regulars that come to this program, is the beginning to that. It's the beginning of their healing process.
Right.
And so, yeah, and just in general, by giving families these spaces and also taking away the financial burden of bringing the families to Intrepid is one of the biggest things, I think.
So the after hours, what's the window on that? You say, what is after hours? How many, is it a few hours?
Yeah, Intrepid After Hours, as I mentioned, it is for current service and veterans only. It is From 4:30 to 8 o'clock, it is,
Pretty good,
they get
okay.
time to walk around themselves, and then we do some type of main event that's usually a workshop, a talk, or a tour, and then it's a free meal at the end. We have a catered dinner. And so through all of that, and we have that about 5 times a year.
Okay, that was my next question.
yeah.
But so it's 5 times a year, and we can, is that published somewhere that we can get the dates?
Yeah, so we are actually in the process of planning 2025 and putting the 2025 dates on our website. And also on just intrepidmuseum.org/vets, you can see all of the things that we offer, including when we do have those public programs, or during Kids Week, or Fleet Week even, that we have these special experiences for military families
Great.
and veteran families.
Well, thank you so much again, and we'll talk about trying to see how we can help families more in the certainly on the Intrepid. But thanks again.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Mount?
Yeah.
Mount Lacey? Yeah.
I want to speak directly to your personal experience growing up, and I want to ask you a question. How do you feel like it would have affected your father if he would have reached out, and if there was help available, or he was told there was help available, and he was constantly running into brick walls, gatekeeping, and false hope? How do you think that would have amplified further his symptoms and the effect on your life?
That goes without saying that obviously when you're given false hope and you think something's going to help. We had that a lot, by the way, in our family. We always had programs that either didn't help or programs that offered, like you said, false promises, and it didn't work. And it was deflating. It deflated us. We thought, we had hope for a week. Things were going to turn around. We had hope for 2 weeks, and then back to square one. So that goes, I could tell you a lot of things that happened, but I blame the VA, period. I couldn't blame anybody else but the VA, because we did ask for help and didn't get it. But go ahead, tell us about your...
Gotcha. I'm speaking from my personal experience over the last couple weeks and since the last time I testified before you guys. I want to say that is the majority of what DVS is promising, is false hope. They don't need more resources or accessibility. What they need is accountability. And I'll describe a situation to you that I went through with Lamar Wheeler, and we're trying to put a unneeded transfer, just to transfer me again back to Borden Avenue on hold, because, like you said, a disruptance in life disrupts everything in your life. I wanted to build a case for him to advocate for me based on DHS policy and procedure. He refused to do that. He wanted to create a advocacy based off an imaginary future plan of treatment with the VA that this nonprofit may or may not accept, instead of policy and procedure based on evidence. Then, after 8 hours of working on that with the staff there that day, Lamar completely ignored that, my wishes to go off policy and procedure and something solid. The disappointment and the stress of realizing that I'm either going back to a more dangerous shelter that I had already been transferred from within 1 day, and have to do that all over again to move, led me to being in crisis. And I called EMT and checked myself into inpatient from DVS. Now, the result of that was Lamar trespassing me from 1 Center Street himself, without anything in writing, on a verbal command to DACA, whatever the police are in that building. They have a picture now of me on their security thing. They still have nothing in writing. Commissioner Hendon doesn't even know about this. And I have a text message from the workers that I worked with that clearly state that I was absolutely no threat whatsoever. So now it not only is DVS keeping me from their services, they're keeping me from the services from the entire New York City government of that building. So if you guys want to know where to put your money, hire a third party and get to accountability. Because I don't know what it is you guys actually do or DVS does besides sit around and talk. And I want to see something, and I would like a commitment from you, Mr. Holden, that my problem, my issue, getting back to Borden, a congressionally approved program that's public law, that you will walk with me step by step.
You have my promise, Mount. You have my promise that we'll talk. And there's a young man back there. His name is Will. You'll talk to him and give us the details. I'm sure that the commissioner will also talk to you today. So we'll try to resolve this and get you back. You want to go back to Borden?
I would like to go back to Borden.
No, we'll
and I would like to be unverbally trespassed from 1 Center Street, because that's a wealth of resources in that building, and that's a constitutional right that we all have to access, and to take that away from somebody who's protected the Constitution is especially egregious. So whatever order was given, if it's not rescinded by tomorrow, we're going to put that to the test.
Okay. Thank you, Mount. Thank you. We'll if you could see the gentleman back there, you stand up, Will. So yeah, right there. Thank you. Thank you, panel. Thank you.
One other thing.
Well, we got to move on. We got to get some.
Can we, 1 second? With the interdepartmental communication, I think DVS should have a list of commissioners and numbers that the public doesn't, so that they can communicate in real time with each other and actually get to actionable actual actions, and not make the person wait the 2 or 3 administrative days that the public would have to wait. Otherwise, what is interdepartmental government?
I agree. It should be done as quickly as possible. Thank you, Mount. Thank you, panel. Thank you so much. Next panel. Oh, the following individual is on Zoom. Dr. Justin Pomerek. Doctor, are you there?
Good afternoon, Chair Holden, members of the New York City Council Committee on Veterans and Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addiction. I'm Dr. Justin Pomeranke, clinical psychologist and assistant professor in the Military Family Center at NYU Langone Health. The Military Family Center was established in 2012 with the goal to fill in the gaps.
Hold on, Doctor. 1 second. We just have to get some noise out of the room. Thank you. Go ahead, Doctor. I'm sorry for that.
That's no problem. We were established in 2012 with the goal to fill in the gaps in mental health services available to veterans and their families in the New York City area. And since inception, the center has provided mental health treatment to more than 4,000 veterans and their family members. We specialize in offering the gold standard evidence-based treatments for PTSD, including prolonged exposure, cognitive processing therapy, among others. For partners of veterans with PTSD, we offer individual therapy as well as emotionally focused couples therapy. In recent years, we've seen a significant increase in couples therapy referrals in our clinic. Partners often haven't been well informed of their veterans' PTSD diagnosis or feel they don't have adequate individual support in navigating common stressors related to their partner's PTSD. It has often been difficult for them to access timely, quality care. They would benefit from increased awareness of available programs and services to help them support the veteran in their life with PTSD. There should also be attention given to increasing accessibility of effective mental health care with culturally competent clinicians who are trained in military culture and PTSD. Focus also needs to be given on better educating and supporting parents and siblings of veterans with PTSD. Existing mental health resources for loved ones of veterans tend to be focused on spouses and children of veterans. And many of the veterans that we see in our clinic are younger and may still be living at home with parents and siblings. In conclusion, supporting the families of veterans with PTSD is essential for improving outcomes. Effective support systems consisting of family and friends who are educated on PTSD and emotionally supported themselves can lead to healthier family dynamics, better mental health outcomes, and overall resilience in navigating the challenges posed by PTSD. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I have a question, or a couple of questions. Tell us what you're seeing with family members, because that's what this hearing's about, of veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. What kind of, not only what kind of treatment they're getting, but what are some of the symptoms that you're recognizing from the family members, children especially?
Children especially. So among spouses, parents, siblings, a lot of what we see, I think, is increased anxiety, wanting to be able to help the service member in their life and not entirely understanding how to do so or how to seek care for themselves even. Mental health care in New York City can be a very expensive thing, and there's oftentimes barriers to accessing that quickly. So yeah, increased anxiety, just wanting to make sure that their veteran is well cared for, and trying to understand why they are reacting or having the difficulties that they are. With children of veterans, especially veterans with PTSD, it's not uncommon to see also increased anxiety, some behavioral problems among teens, especially if substance use is a component of it. There can be younger members of the family who feel like they have to take more, kind of grow up quick, right? Like take over responsibilities pretty quickly and feel the stress related to that. So, it really runs the gamut in terms of what we see, and depending on the specific family dynamic. But speaking to, I think, some of what's been said before, the priority is just having access to mental health care. And unfortunately, there isn't a lot of that for family members of veterans in the city. Some programs at the VAs when it comes to couples therapy, and then additionally some providers that maybe have been trained in VAs and are familiar with military culture. But oftentimes that comes at a price that might not be accessible.
Right, and just trying to get the family members there for the treatment is probably very difficult. But if you can recommend any kind of programs that, I don't know if you still have a waiting list, because I know that's been a problem in the past. But I know NYU does a great work with our veterans, and we'd like to expand the program. But if maybe we can talk offline about how many family members are being helped, and what are what are the outcomes? Are you following through on where they helped? I mean, it's not an exact science, I get it, but if we could sort of feel that we're making some progress, and maybe where should we put our resources in your organization? Where should we really focus, especially with families? So we could talk offline, but if you have something off the top of your head, what treatments seem to be more successful than others?
So the treatments vary in terms of what's successful. I think especially where the demand is right now is in couples therapy, and there are different approaches to couples therapy, especially when a partner has PTSD, that's not my specialty, right. But definitely give you some of that information. And I know our emotionally focused couples therapy program in the clinic is very popular, and we don't have a very long wait list in the clinic in general right now. We've been doing a great job of helping people and getting them connected with services pretty quickly, and kind of getting them connected also with the next step past us if needed. But the couples therapy for the last couple of years, I think, has been an area where there's been more of a wait list and a harder time kind of trimming that down, just because there aren't as many resources that are accessible to veterans and their family members on that front in the city. I think
So doctor, you do have, if the whole family wants to have therapy together or
yes.
separate, because I don't know if my dad had to go to the therapy, I don't know if I would be as open as I probably would have if he wasn't there. So they're both in your organization? I mean, do you have?
Yeah, we have both in our organization.
Yeah.
The veteran does not have to be enrolled in our care for their family to access care, and we have a very loose definition of family. Really, it's anyone in the veteran circle, whether it's their partner, their parents, their kids, their siblings. If they're impacted by the veteran and are wanting to seek care, and we think that also treating them could help to support the veteran, we definitely, would be willing to work with them.
Great. Thank you so much for your testimony, and thanks for answering the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's okay. So we have another person on Zoom, Sergio Villaverde.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi.
Mr. May I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Because I can't see you gentlemen now that are
that's all right.
Chairs as I go forward.
We could see you.
Great. First, I want to thank Chair Holden and Chair Lee for holding this very, very important session. It's certainly something near and dear to me and my family. I have served 32 years in the U.S. Coast Guard Reserve. I'm a 9/11 responder. I'm also retired from the NYPD. I serve currently as a small business owner, as I'm an attorney, but I also am the chair of the Special Veterans Committee at Community Board number 8 in the Bronx. And I did want to talk about the issue. And as with most veterans issues, there are 3 big points I'd like to make. Number 1 is the identification of veterans. As has been stated, veterans do not generally self-identify. Nationally, it's 34%. In New York State, it's 29%. You get to the city, it's 24%. There have been local laws that have been passed to encourage identification by the different agencies, and that needs to continue, and every agency should have something like this on its radar, identifying veterans and connecting them with services that are available, because we can't get them the mental health treatment. We can't get them the other services that are required if we don't know who these people are, and that's been a Herculean lift. Number 2, the outreach, as the previous speaker spoke, to families and the extended circle of veterans is something that's most necessary, because frankly, from a lot of my friends and a lot of the people who I know, they've gotten treatment only because their family has been the one who's encouraged it. So having the city resources, the state resources, and the VA resources known to the families, they are in a position where they can push to get treatment. They can push to get disability ratings. They can push to have the PTSD diagnosed. Whereas a veteran may not want to listen, may not want to self-identify, making sure that their extended circle knows about it. Yeah, it's a practical issue, right? We can, we'll be able to pay the mortgage. We'll be able to pay the rent. You have this condition, let's get it treated, and let's get the benefit for it if there's one other than the treatment. Number 3, the veteran mentoring, the model that the veteran treatment courts use. I think it's something that I know that Commissioner Hendon is very big on it, and I want to commend Commissioner Hendon and his staff. They're doing a big job. They're boxing way above their weight relative to the funding that they have. This is why it's urgent that the other agencies have a stake, that this is front of mind for all of the city agencies, because that's the only way it's going to happen. It's not going to happen with only $3.2 million of other than personnel expenses that the city DVS has. Number 3, we need to do the outreach to connect, and from a selfish perspective a little bit, to get people into veterans specifically more involved in the community, because that's how the mentorship happens. That's how the outreach happens. And from a city perspective, on our not-for-profit boards, volunteering, community boards, veterans have a wealth of leadership experience and knowledge that is untapped. It's I know on my community board, I'm the only veteran who serves. I know one of my neighboring community boards has no veterans who serve on it, and I think that's not unique. So those are the 3 points I wanted to stress, and I thank all of you for having this meeting, and happy Veterans Month. And if we are having our Veterans event November 3rd, this Sunday at Memorial Grove in Van Cortlandt Park. It will be at noon if anyone chooses to come up to the beautiful Bronx. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sergio. And what you said about outreach is so important. If they don't self-identify, the veterans don't do that. We don't know who they are. And again, they're suffering alone or with their families. So I'd like to hear some ideas, and maybe we can talk in the future about some of your ideas of outreach, because I did have some ideas on the city. I know the city's not going to pay for outreach, and they should, but they don't. The administration won't put the money into that or give DVS enough money that they can do mailings or outreach. But if somehow there could be a outdoor campaign, and I've suggested empty billboard companies, they donated space many times. They did it for recruitment into the armed forces, but they haven't done it for veterans, and that's our goal, is try to get on bus shelters, space on bus shelters, on kiosks, which is free, that we can do and I came from advertising in my previous life, so I have ideas on how we could reach people that don't self-identify by messages that in advertising. So I think we should talk, because I think all your points were extremely valid, and we do have to solve them. I hope we can do it in my lifetime. I don't know, but there are ways to do it without even putting resources. There are ways. So I think, having you as a tremendous asset in the Bronx is important. So let's talk. If you can, we can talk. We can do either a Zoom or a phone conversation, because I'd like to pick your brain on some ideas that you may have. Thanks again, Sergio. Okay, we have a last call for Michael Moreno, Brian Elliott Cook, and Sharon Brown Jeter Rose. Are they here or online? Okay, well, thank you everyone for attending the hearing, and this hearing is adjourned.